So obviously the player that we're talking about here from Fox Sports that actually made this, it says prediction, guys. This is them projecting into free agency. Like, okay, what players would be a good fit? Where do we think they would go? That's why to me it's more or less breaking news that, hey, of all the players that are available in free agency, these are the guys that I think is the perfect fit for the Packers. Probably the perfect price as well. The age is the only thing that could throw a wrench into the equation. But let's talk about our boy Calais Campbell. As Fox Sports predicts, Calais Campbell signs with the Packers. You go down, it was in an article. I want to give a shout out to Janice, who made me aware of the article. And like I said, there was 2 players that hit on this list that we'll dive into both of them. So Fox Sports predicts the Packers will sign defensive tackle Calais Campbell in free agency. I said, Packer fans, how would you feel about this signing? Got a bunch of responses. To me, it felt like, and you can't do a poll question in this form, but it felt like probably 85% of the fan base would be on board with this. I think the fan base is becoming tired. It's becoming an old excuse that, man, we're the youngest team in the league. Therefore, how much success can you actually expect down the stretch? To the best of my knowledge, the youngest team in the league has never won the Super Bowl. That still holds true. I know the Seattle Seahawks people will say, well, they were young. Yes, they were young. They were not the youngest. Okay. So all that does come into factor for sure. But here is the write-up that Fox Sports put in place for Calais Campbell. They had him listed at number 52. Now, I don't know if that was the 52nd ranked free agent to them or if it was just 52 on their list of how well they felt about these players potentially signing with the teams mentioned. But Calais Campbell, 39 years old, is ageless now with 4 straight seasons of at least 5 sacks while playing for 4 different teams. He's a living legend with 119 career sacks and 6 Pro Bowls. Let me ask you guys this real quick. If our biggest problem is coming down the stretch and we cannot seal the deal, we can't get the job done, and I think we would all agree, we look up every year and go, damn, that was just a stupid mistake in the worst moment for that player, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's a young player. It's a young, inexperienced player. It's a player like, you can say, well, Keyshawn's not young. That's true. He's not young. He's not 30-something, but he's not young, right? However, Keyshawn was an undrafted free agent. Well, that doesn't make or break the player, Clayton. You talk about all the time, hey, play the best players. Completely agree. Okay, well, how much money are they spending on him? Because that really shows the true value of a player, at least their recent value, to be able to warrant an NFL GM to give them X amount of money. Make a $7 million. Last year, I think he was making $5 or $6 million against the cap. We can't expect a player at the cornerback position who was an undrafted free agent, kick returner, who was converted to a slot corner, who was then converted to an outside corner, who's making $6-7 million a year. We can't be upset when they don't make the plays down the stretch. Right? We just can't do it. And again, what does Calais Campbell have to do with this? How many times do we find ourselves in a situation where it's like, man, we need somebody to just step up right now, and no one tends to do it, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's not that a player isn't physically good enough to do it, right? It may be that they didn't recognize a certain play from film study. It may be that they didn't recognize the potential snap count where they could get the best get off on the ball and be able to get into the backfield. Right? It may be the fact that they've exuberated the majority of their energy on plays that maybe weren't as important, which you can ask all of the greats. Kevin Green said it. I remember Greg Lloyd said it with the Steelers. I want to say Julius Peppers said it once in an interview too, caught a little bit of scrutiny for it. What am I talking about? They say, yeah, one of the key things to being a good defensive lineman is knowing when to save a little energy and when to turn it loose on those really, really important moments. Like, okay, I recognize they're going to be attacking my gap here. I got to give it 110% effort here, right? Okay, this particular play, typically I'm just going to kind of set the edge and contain. Let's save a little energy here, right? Those things matter. When you get a veteran who can step up in those key moments and make sure, all right, it's go time right now. And it seems like the Packers, they tend to lean on, well, let's do a heavy rotation at the position. I don't hate that idea. But also, if you've got a player who has learned over the last however many years, 17 years, I believe he's been in the league. If you've got a player that has understood over the last 17 years of his playing career at the National Football League level that, hey, I know right here is when I need to amp it up. I know right here is when they need me the most. That's invaluable in my opinion, right? It goes on to say he made it to the Super Bowl as a rookie in 2008 with the Cardinals 17 years ago. And how cool would it be if he signed on with the top contender and found his way back, turning 40 before this season starts in September, question mark. He signed for $5.5 million last year. And if a 40-year-old defensive lineman can help make a case for a raise, Campbell can. Again, the prediction is to sign with the Packers. So am I saying he's going to come in here and be Reggie White? No. Am I saying he's going to come in here and be, I'm trying to think of another player, Ndamukong Suh in his prime? No. Am I saying he's going to be Calais Campbell in his prime? Absolutely not. But if the problem is we keep making mistakes on the grandest stages, and then it's okay, well, are we drafting the wrong people? I don't think it's necessarily that. Okay, well, these players keep getting hurt. Well, that's the whole reason you went youthful, is to prevent injuries, right? Well, this is the perfect example of somebody like Calais Campbell who stays healthy, and he's 39 years old, right? Now, could he get hurt this year? Anybody could get hurt any year. Anything freak can happen. But there's also a skill set, I think, to these veteran players that they understand how to play the game and play the game in a way that they can protect themselves and always be available. I'm not trying to dog Devontae White, but Devontae White has not learned that yet. He plays reckless. We see it. And we love that recklessness when he's breaking into the backfield and sacking the quarterback. We don't love the recklessness when he takes himself out of the run fit, i.e. his run fit grade, no matter who you look at. Everybody will tell you he's a good pass rusher. Very seldom do they go, oh, he's a dominant run stuffer, right? But also he plays reckless in the sense that he ends up getting hurt a lot too, right? So all those things come into factor, in my opinion. So let's move along now and talk about the calculated market value. How much is he going to be worth? Last year he signed for $5.5 million. They're saying his stock has probably increased this year. Spot Track has it at $10.9 million. Okay, that's their projected value. They compare him to players like Cam Jordan, Brandon Graham, Cam Hayward, and John Jenkins. All right, so you average all that out, you essentially come up with a $10.9 million AAV, or average annual salary. Okay, so, or value, I should say, of the overall contract. So it doesn't mean if you sign him to a 2 or a 3 year deal that you're on the hook for the entirety of $30 million. It'll probably be a 1 year deal if the Packers were to go get him. And again, I don't necessarily think Calais Campbell is my top choice. I'll talk about who my top choice is in just a second. But if you could get him at $10 million for 1 year, that seems a little steep to me. I would rather go in a different direction. But if you can get him at what PFF is projecting at $6 million per year, absolutely run it. If he made 5.5 last year, I feel like it'd be closer to the 5.5 mark than it would 10 mark. So you can get him for $6 or $7 million on a 1 year deal. I'm all about it. And for the people that say, well, is he going to be that much better? If he's this much better for anything less than $7 or $8 million, it's worth it. I mean, look at the PFF grades too. And notice the snaps too. 2023, 712 snaps at 80 PFF grade. Guys, in 2023, I was doing this podcast, and Calais Campbell was always popping up as a player like, should we go get him? Well, he's too old. He's too old. We said he was too old the last 3 years. And boy, oh boy, if we had him on our roster, do you understand? It's not even close. I repeat, it is not even close. He is grading out as our best interior defensive tackle. Now, maybe Calais Campbell shouldn't be the guy, but maybe we should throw that to the side thinking, oh, that player's too old, and sign one of these other guys as well. Again, we need help in the middle. We've already ran multiple mock drafts, and what we're coming up with is we've got prospects in our top 100 at defensive tackle at 21, 23, 31, 33, and 41. If those guys are gone, ending with Lee Hunter there at 41, if those guys are gone, the talent value drops all the way down to 91 and 99 with Darrell Jackson and Big Citrus. Okay, so what that means is at 52, you're not getting kind of the upper echelon defensive tackles in the draft, right? Probably not going to happen. It's too valuable. Isn't it amazing these other teams just keep swooping these guys up? They keep taking them, right? And we're just like, we'll settle for a 5th and an undrafted free agent. It's like, it's that important of a position. And I can't help but think they're clinging to Devontae White like this is the answer to all our problems at defensive tackle. Well, we've seen these guys get banged up. And when you're in your nickel set, it's not a bad thing to have 2-3 techs, right? They may be playing a 4-eye or a 5 tech, but they're the same type of build where they can push the pocket in an isolation situation, especially if you get them opposite of Micah Parsons. If you throw a second guy in there in the middle and they're looking at Calais Campbell going, boy, we got to double team him. Now you got Devontae White singled up once he's healthy. And on the other side, they've got to double Micah Parsons as well. You're just creating more problems from the inside out. And every quarterback will tell you, if they say, where would you rather the pressure come from? The A to B gap or off the edge? 99% of the time, the quarterbacks say, oh, off the edge. I can make them miss. But when they're pushing that pocket back and you got a solid contain on the outside, it causes a lot of problems for opposing teams. So again, 80, 82, 72. If we get that 72 out of a player like that, he's the 23rd highest rated defensive lineman last year, and we get 500 snaps out of him, I think it could help this defense tremendously. Now let's move along to players that we also like, okay? Now, I included DJ Reader, who's ranked by PFF as the 20th best free agent. In my opinion, I'm not as big on him, okay? His grade's 82, 66, 68. I don't think it'd be a horrible signing, but at 31 years old, you have not seen the last 2 years the level of play that Calais Campbell has, okay? Now, they've got him listed at $4.5 million. That's good value, right, to get a veteran player in here. However, I would prefer Calais Campbell over him. Over onto the next one, according to PFF, the 47th ranked free agent available is David Onyemata from the Atlanta Falcons, okay? His PFF grade starting in 2023, 84. Then he dropped to a 66. He jumped back up to a 78. He's 33 years old. So you're still getting that veteran mentality, 7 years younger than Calais Campbell. Guys, his projected market value, according to PFF, and again, Spot Track may have it a little bit different. I don't think they'll have it at the 10 million mark, nowhere near it. But David Onyemata, they're saying you can get him for $3.5 million. If you can get David Onyemata, let me put it this way. This might be a better way of describing it. We got to move on to the next topic. Calais Campbell at $10 million, or would you rather have both DJ Reader and David Onyemata for the same price? Meaning both of them for $10 million. Sign me up for the two players, right? Because again, injuries happen, rotations happen. So there's aspects of that could potentially come into the fold here. Daquan Jones, I'm not as big on him. 82, 65, 72, not horrible, but 34 years old. He's getting up there in age. I haven't seen enough. I would rather not sign him unless it's like a veteran minimum, right? Levi Ozaruke, if I'm saying it right, Owuzare, I can never say it. Emilio always gets it for me. He has to walk me through it. But he's with the Detroit Lions as well. He's going to be 28 years old, right? So, he's younger. Okay. 68 in 2023, 70 in 2024. And then I think he was hurt last year, so he didn't have a PFF grade listed. Okay. So it looked as if in 23 and 24, he's ascending. He was the 23rd highest graded defensive lineman. I would not hate that signing, depending on what the value is. Again, $3 to $4 million range, absolutely, sign me up. Those are the type of players that we've went out and tried to get in the past, like a Jaron Reed right around that age. And, it didn't work out with Jaron Reed. We let him loose. Well, he just won a Super Bowl with Seattle. Now, was Jaron Reed the reason they won a Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But isn't it funny? Teams that are winning championships are pressing in to some of these veteran signings, even if it's just a role player. I mean, think of the year that the Packers won the Super Bowl, Howard Green, right? There was nobody going, Howard Green's going to revolutionize the defense. But boy, when you hear Aaron Rodgers talk about him, you hear A.J. Hawk on the McAfee show talk about Howard Green, he was so pivotal in that Super Bowl run. So, again, these things matter. Now, when you talk about a young player, a young ascending player, Logan Hall really piques my interest. There's some people that are saying he's going to break the bank and get over $10 million. There's others that are saying they're probably around the $5 million mark. We'll see. But if it's around the $5 million, if it's anywhere from $5 to $7 million, I would be okay with Logan Hall being one of those two players or the only player we sign. And here's the reason. He's ascending. He's 25 years old. He's going to be 26 this year. 52, 59, 66. He's getting better every year. The trajectory suggests he's going to have his best year yet. He's stepping into his prime, and he's going to be 26 years old. And the fact that he hasn't lit the world on fire, you may be able to get him at a discounted rate. So, again, just to recap, if I could get two of these defensive linemen at $5 million or less, per, I would rather go that route than paying $10 million for a Calais Campbell. Although I got to say, I don't think Calais Campbell will get $10 million. I think it'll be closer to the 5 than the 10. But if you guys are watching this video back later, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about this potential signing at defensive line, no matter who the free agent is? Maybe you got somebody that wasn't on my list that you like better. Let us know in the comments. Let's take the conversation over there. Make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch all the live streams in the future.